Hi guys, welcome back to Day in the Life of Pulmonary Hypertension, brought to you by Julie
and Crystal.
So, this is our third video, actually kind of fourth.
Yeah, because our last one got interrupted.
And we don't know how to put them together, so we're just going to post both at the same time. But, just a quick recap, pulmonary hypertension, high blood pressure in the lungs.
Not the body.
Not the body. Makes it hard to breathe a lot. And it is a progressive disease. It will get worse. Can eventually lead to lung transplant, heart transplant.
Even
no cure. No cure at all. So we talked last time about our medications. This time we are going to get into more of our daily life because I feel like everybody's different. Everybody deals with life differently. And a lot of people are homebound or bedbound or really do not have a great quality of life whatsoever. Which, with some of the people in our Facebook groups, I mean, that's kind of depressing. And it's sad. And it's not a way to live. But we're here to tell you that, if you are newly diagnosed and you're worried about, everything that you're seeing, we are two cases where we have very good lives, I think.
Yeah, very good quality.
We're very active. And I'm not just saying physically, but because, physically, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But, so we're going to talk to you about kind of what I like to think of as our
normal lives.
Our life resume.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
So, I guess, do you want to start with that, or do you want me to? Or?
I can start. That's
okay.
Fine. Okay, so, like Julie was saying, everybody's different. This disease affects everybody different. And it also depends, I think, on where you are in your disease process that you're diagnosed. Because a lot of people have no idea that this is what they have. We talked about in our very first video how this is, we're considered zebras because we're overlooked. People think it's some, asthma or CHF, something like that, when in reality it's something much more serious. I
guess I kind of want to say, sorry to interrupt. That's okay. This was not caused by smoking. So,
no.
Just to put that out there, I did not smoke to get this way. It's not caused from secondhand smoke either. I grew up in a household where both of my parents smoked in there for a while. My mom eventually quit, but my dad still did. Once I was diagnosed, he stopped smoking in the house. Yeah. But it is not caused by secondhand smoke. It's just, we got dealt the lucky...
crappy hand.
Yeah.
But we're going to make the best of it.
Yes.
So basically, a day in the life of Crystal consists of, I wake up in the morning, I showed you guys my bag of medications. Before my feet hit the floor, I take that because if I don't, I'll forget. So for those of you who have this disease, especially those who are newly diagnosed, make sure you find something that works for you that you're going to remember to take your meds. Because especially if you've lived a healthy life and never taken meds before, this is a whole new way of living for you. You've got to figure out what works for you. Whether it's a bag, a pill container, find a place that, you can keep them that you're going to remember. Keep them obviously away from your young children. That is like, all these drugs have like their, the child resistant caps. But you don't want your animals or your kids, of course, to get in touch with these medications. Because if you don't have this disease and you take this medication, that's bad. Anyhow, that should go without saying, actually. So anyway...
They're not fun party drugs. So
not so much.
Don't try to steal them.
No. So when I get up in the morning, I take my meds. I pretty much go about my day. I work from home currently.
What's your business?
So we have a company called Trash Talk with our best friends.
And I am a customer.
She is a very loyal customer. And so I do all the billing, basically all the office work, and it allows me to work from home, which is amazing because I'm also a full-time student. I am going to get my bachelor's degree in forensic psychology. And that's kind of, I don't know, my passion is with children in the foster care system. And I think I really would like to become a trauma therapist. I think I have a lot to offer somebody. I've been through a whole lot in my life. I would like to think I'm still young at 37. I've been through a lot of stuff outside of my,
that's good.
My disease.
You never really said how old we are.
Oh, yeah. I'm 37.
33.
I'm 21.
30s are awesome. I love being 30.
I'm almost 40. Oh, God. Anyway.
So is that what you can do with a forensic psychology degree?
So
I was going to actually ask you that.
You can do so much. It's a dual degree, so you can go into like the court system, into like the law portion. You can go into counseling. There is further certification and furthering my degree, so I might have to go get my master's as well.
So do you watch Making a Murder?
Yeah.
So
I'm not caught up yet.
Well, I mean, that's fine. So if anyone's familiar with Making a Murder, it's on Netflix. It's pretty awesome to watch. It will hook you in. It'll suck you in. But so when they're going through Brendan's confession video, and then the people that are kind of evaluating that, is that something that you would do as a forensic psychologist?
It's something similar to that. So basically forensic psychology, it's not forensic like crime scene forensics. It's completely different. This is of the mind. So you go in to find why people do what they do, why they react the way they react, what are underlying causes of these kind of things, body language, that kind of stuff. So you learn to read people as well.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
So, that is a tangent, but it's good. So I feel like I've been through a lot of things to kind of offer perspective, and I just really have a passion for helping others, and I think that's just something I want to definitely focus on. So I kind of manage doing all the billing and all that kind of stuff for Trash Talk, which is the name of our company. I don't know if I said that. And then I do school also during the day. I have a 7-year-old who is at school throughout the day, so I'm good to do that. And then working from home, I can do laundry. We have a split level house, so we have a few steps at a time. We don't have like huge flights. There are some days that I do notice the shortness of breath that I have going up, especially if I'm carrying like a lot of stuff. Like groceries are a huge deal. Some of the things that a lot of people take for granted, sorry, I can't speak today, are things that they're like life-changing for us, groceries is a big deal. Going grocery shopping for a lot of people. I've seen people on our Facebook group say, how do you guys deal with grocery shopping? How do you get all your groceries inside? Usually my husband carries the groceries inside because we do have to go up a flight of steps after unloading them. And that can get taxing for me, but there are times that I have to do it by myself. And when I do, I feel like I'm going to die after I'm done, but I take a breath and...
But did you die?
But did you die? There's a shirt. And so some of those things are taxing for me. Now, what I will say is before I started on any medications, I was about 21 when I started on my first medication, which I've talked about before. I was on oxygen 24/7. I couldn't take it off. I could not breathe. I was also on a heart-lung transplant list. I had gotten that far progressed in the disease that was a last resort. And that was probably, at the time, I would look back on one of the worst things you could think of, because it's not like you go in and you get a new heart and lungs off of a shelf, you put it in you, and you're better. It doesn't work like that. There's so much more that goes with it. I had to go through counseling. I had to go through tissue testing. I had to give like 30 vials of blood. Like, it's a big deal. And as a 21-year-old, that was horrible for me to even think about, because that's a huge life step, obviously, for a young person trying to make their way in life and figure out who they are and what they're going to do with, their life. So once I started on the Triclear, which was the first drug that I talked the doctors into trying, within about 6 months or so, I felt amazing. I was able to go without the oxygen. I went through nursing school. I started kind of living a normal life, which I had never done before. I was, used to going to the mall and having to stop from store to store because I couldn't walk far enough. So these medications literally have saved my life and given me a new outlook on life. So that's kind of my day-to-day as far as what I do. I'm able to do, cleaning and chores. And as we said before, that's not the case for everybody. A lot of people can't do a lot of that stuff. One thing I will say is I am on disability. And I know that's like a tough subject. A lot of people are like, oh, well, you can do all this stuff. Why are you on disability? I will tell you why.
So I was going to ask you.
Yes.
How do traditional jobs work out for you?
Not well. So I used to work in the emergency room before I started on disability, and I would push myself because I was there for my patients. I did not pay attention to my health because their health at that point was more important, and I just pushed through it. And like I've said before, I've grown up with this disease. This is all I know. And so I don't know what it feels like to be able to breathe. I know what it feels like when, I have better days than others, but I don't know what it feels like to be completely healthy. So I just pushed and pushed and pushed until, I left. And I can't tell you how many times my friends would be like, Crystal, you're really cyanotic. You need to take a break. Or, hey, go in room, 6 and put on oxygen. Or, the doctors would be like, Crystal, you need to take a break. So everybody did watch out for me a lot. And I'm very thankful for them because they would kind of pick up the slack if I needed a break. But for the most part, I tried to do everything I could. It got to a point, though, where I had to call out of work a lot because I would wake up in the morning, and I think one thing we need to mention is, like, some days are good and some days are bad. Like, I have good days, I have bad days, but I'd start waking up with really bad days. Winter is horrible for my health. Fall kind of sucks because I'm coming out from that, summer high of feeling really good.
Yeah, but don't you feel with the humidity?
Sometimes.
You have a little harder time breathing?
Yeah. Sometimes with the humidity, it's hard to breathe. I will say that, but I think I do worse in winter.
Yeah.
I used to get pneumonia every single winter as a child. My mom harbored me in the house. I wasn't allowed to go outside and build snowmen and all that kind of stuff. So I did not have a normal childhood. So I think I'm able to finally make up for those things as an adult because these medications are now available. When I was in high school, I had to ride the elevator because I couldn't do the stairs. I know, like, our lunch room was like in the basement, and then I'd have a class on the second floor. I couldn't do all those stairs. And so my childhood was totally abnormal. It was awful. It sucked. I hated it. But now that I'm older, I'm really starting to enjoy life because I actually can.
Good.
I've been afforded that.
Yeah.
So I am the director for Royal Family Kids Camp, which is a camp that is specifically for children in foster care. That is my passion. Those kids are my heart. There are so many kids.
You've had foster kids before.
Yes, and I also have done foster care twice. So those are kind of my passions, and I think that the fuller my plate is, the better I feel because I don't sit and think, oh my gosh, I'm sick. Oh my gosh, this sucks. Oh my gosh, why me? Like I've just in my heart just known, like, I can't let this disease take control of my life. Like, I can't let this be my death.
Right.
And I still swear to this day I'm going to die from some stupid thing like a lightning strike or something. Like, this isn't going to be it.
Car accident,
Yeah,
plane crash.
Yeah, something else.
And I think that's huge with this is your mental health.
Yes.
It's difficult to deal with, but if you don't make it your life, which I know for some of us it's harder to look past, our day-to-day deficiencies, that keeping a positive mind, say, yeah, I have pulmonary hypertension, but that's not who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I've pretty much lived my life since I've been diagnosed.
Yeah.
My nose is dripping.
One of the side effects of meds. Hey. So I just feel like the more and more I would ponder on it, the worse and worse I would feel. And so I really had to get to a point where I had to say, this isn't my death sentence. I'm not going to let it be. I'm going to go on about my life and live like I am normal. I know that I'm not. The people close to me know that I'm not, but I'm not going to let this be to my demise. So, and if you are, a patient and you're dealing with feelings of, despair and sadness and, all that stuff's normal. All this anger is normal. Jealousy is normal. I went through a huge period of jealousy when it came to other women who had children, which I can get to at a later video. I want to, actually.
We will.
But, because it's super important. But I forget where I was going with that now. So yeah, you need to definitely talk with somebody, and I know that your doctors, wherever you are in the world, because let's be honest, this doesn't just affect the people in the U.S. Find somebody to talk to. Your doctor can, lead you in the right direction, because this is a terminal illness. This is, just like cancer, it's terminal. Like, this is not something that's going to go away. It's something we're going to have to come to a realization of, I have this disease. what am I going to do with my life because of it and in spite of it? So find somebody to talk to. Your friends.
Pretty fortunate that we're in the same city.
Yes.
But I am going to be completely honest right now. And I don't even think you've heard this.
Uh-oh.
So we're completely different. We've mentioned that before. Crystal has longed for most of her life to find someone like her. Me, I did not have that drive. I did not have that longing. I did not feel like I needed someone to talk to that had the same thing as me. And when we first met, it was awesome and it was nice, and I thought it was cool that we were in the same city. But I've kind of moved my life on where I don't focus on it so much. Mm-hmm. And when we first met, and I know you were just excited to have somebody else to talk to about it, but I was like, oh my gosh, can we stop talking about this? Like, I don't want it to be the focus of everything. So I was like, I love her and it's awesome, but I don't want to talk about it all the time. I don't want to focus on every single little thing just because I feel like that's what's helped me go on and do the things that I've done. But now, I mean, and that's probably something different that I'm dealing with, am I in denial? Have I been in denial all these years? And now, I'm finally comfortable with doing this. Actually, I'm not entirely comfortable. This is out of my comfort zone. Just an FYI. But I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I do so well with this, and I have a lot to give back to the community that I need to be more involved with it. So, having her here, I guess, is a blessing.
We've actually found, that we have more in common than just this disease. And I think maybe that's kind of what you're saying is like you wanted more out of our friendship than just talking about that.
Yeah.
So, because you're not going to be able to talk to your friends about this because they're not going to understand. They're going to be there for you and, but they're not going to understand it. And I think for me, I just needed somebody else to kind of ask questions like, how do you feel? What is this? How do you do that? So. And
then when I say, but we're also very different. I felt like in the beginning it was discouraging for you because I was like, yeah, I can do that or I do that. And then you're like, crap.
I can't do that. Yeah.
But I don't know how you felt.
Well, that was what I felt was, I felt very bad because I've lived with this. I think this is something I still battle with. I have lived with this my entire life, and so I don't know what it feels like to be healthy. So in a sense, I feel a jealousy of, oh my gosh, she used to do all this stuff. She got to go to gym class. She got to do this. She got to run. She got to experience all that stuff where I didn't.
So you know, I don't remember any of that.
It's the lack of oxygen to your brain now. But so now I almost, when I look through like our Facebook groups, I almost feel bad because it hurts my heart to know that people have lived these healthy lives and have had families and have had, normalcy their entire life. And then all of a sudden they're struck with something in a day. Their life has changed in a split second. They get that diagnosis. Their life is completely torn apart and flipped upside down. And so I kind of feel bad in that aspect because you've lost everything almost, and that hurts my heart. At least that's how I feel. I feel like a lot of people feel like they've lost everything, and that hurts my heart for people.
Yeah. We'll kind of go into, and for me, I was diagnosed when I was 20-ish, 19 or 20. And I was one of those people that was perfectly normal, healthy. But I look back and I'm like, how did I even deal with this? Like, I don't even know if I knew and realized exactly how big of a deal this was. I mean, I think I did, but I think if I were to be diagnosed now, I would have a lot harder time with it than I did then. And it's just really weird. And so my whole process is I was diagnosed when I was 20. Healthy healthy before that, and I remember some of my family thinking that I was in denial. Maybe I was, maybe like I said, maybe I still am, but at that time I was doing my undergraduate studies for biology. I've always been very into school. I always got great grades. I just had this drive inside of me that I was going to go to college, and then when I was in college, I didn't know what I was going to do after that. A bachelor's in biology, you can do research. No.
Boring.
I'm not cut out for research. Didn't understand any of it. you can be a teacher, which at that time I said, oh, hell no, I'm not going to be a teacher. But now I feel like I'm more in that teacher role, and I think more of my passions are in the teaching.
Tell them what you do.
I will. I'm
so excited.
And then what was the third option? Oh, go to medical school. And then I thought about it for like a day maybe. Because I knew I wanted to do something in healthcare. But I didn't want to be a nurse. I didn't want to, and then, like I said, I thought about being a doctor for a day. And then I found out that you had to take the MCAT. And I was like, no, not doing that. So then I just randomly talked to, I think it was one of my personal trainers at the gym, which became one of my friends. Chris Kane, if you're out there watching, thank you, because I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for you. He mentioned something about being a PA, so a physician assistant. So I was like, that sounds cool. It's like I do pretty much everything that a doctor does, but without being a doctor, not going to school to be a doctor, and obviously not the same pay as a doctor. So I applied to PA school, I got in, and I am a PA now. I'm an orthopedic PA. So what that means for me is my day-to-day life, it's actually can get pretty strenuous. So I'm on my feet pretty much all day. Some days are better than others. So I see patients in the office. I evaluate patients, treat them, and follow them. So I pretty much do most of what a doctor does. I do injections. But a bigger, strenuous part of my job is I assist in the OR. So sometimes I am standing in a case for probably 4 hours at a time, standing in the same spot, looking at the same thing. Sometimes when I assist, that involves retracting. So you hold retractors. It's a lot of positioning, draping, holding retractors. I do close at the end, so I stitch everybody together. And some of these patients, our patient population, I mean, if you just look around, you'll know, huge. So some of these cases are harder because I'm manipulating giant legs that are the size of my body. So I don't really notice a lot of shortness of breath with that. Every now and then it'll hit me, more with like bending down, picking things up. But I can usually do my job pretty easily. I do feel an overall sense of fatigue, like I'm just so worn out all the time. But I think some of that it's pulmonary hypertension and just lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because I suck at waking up, which I am changing. I used to hit snooze.
I'm not a morning person either.
I would snooze for about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And I think not hitting snooze has made me feel much better in the morning. But, some other things that I've done, because I just like to have my hand in multiple different hats.
Me too. So you like a full plate too.
Yeah, I
Gives
do.
us purpose.
I've always felt that way, even before I got sick.
Yeah.
I felt that the more I had on my plate, the better managed I was day to day. And the more successful I was, in school and everything. So I had mentioned that my passion's kind of going towards teaching. So I will take PA students and kind of take them through the clinic and train them. Take them through the OR and train them. And before I did that, I would go around the country with a group, and I would do lectures on orthopedics. So they're 8-hour lectures, so I'm standing up there talking for 8 hours about orthopedics. And these lectures would provide other medical professionals with a chance for CMEs. So that's what you need to keep your license valid. So I did that for about 2 years, I think. Haven't done that in a while, but they sent me to Hawaii. That was pretty freaking cool. Another thing that I do is I am in direct sales with a company called Traveling Vineyard, and we do wine tastings in the home. So I get paid.
Who doesn't love wine?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I go in, and it's another educational thing. So I am up there teaching you about wine, how to taste it, the steps of tasting, how to pair with foods, and I make money. I make a little extra money doing it. Yeah. And then I would say another thing, it's also involving teaching. I did visit a PA school and gave a lecture on musculoskeletal exams. And have been invited to come back. So, I don't know, I just feel like as I get older, I'm actually realizing that I love teaching. I love sharing what I know with everybody else. And I love being able to bring somebody to their full potential.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I'll become a teacher full time.
I almost went to PA school. Did I tell you that?
No.
Yes, I did. So after I graduated high school, or while I was a senior, I went and visited Findlay, and they had a 4-year PA school at that time. So 4 years, you were done. That does not exist anymore, by the way. And I wanted to do that, and my mom went on the visit with me, of course, and she said, Crystal, I want you to do what you want to do, but there's no way you're going to be able to walk this campus, especially in the winter. And that crushed my dreams of being a PA, of ever going to college, because as I said, I did not have the same lifestyle that I have now because I didn't have the medications at my fingertips. They didn't know as much about PA as they know now. And so I feel like, you know, that kind of stunted everything that I wanted to be or that I could have been. And I think too, my mom, I love my mom, but I think that she kind of handicapped me because she was so scared. I mean, I can't imagine being a mom of a terminally ill child, number one, but you know, I was in the hospital all the time when I was younger. And so she was sitting in hospitals with me up all night, all the time. And, you know, she wanted to protect her baby just like every mother wants to do. But, you know, she was, you know, there for a long time. I wasn't able to go to friends' houses because what if I died? I wasn't allowed to go outside in the wintertime because what if I got sick? I wasn't allowed to, you know, do a lot of things because. And it wasn't until my cardiologist at the time that I talked about with the crazy hair, she finally told her, she said, you're going to have to let her live her life. She did tell my mom that I probably would only live to be about 10. She was very, very wrong, obviously. But I've been told several times that it's been my drive for life that I am still alive. And so I think that what you do with your diagnosis is going to be ultimately up to you. But your state of mind is key, I think, in this illness. When you start on medications, it is a scary thing. When I was in the hospital and they were going to start me on Remodulin, that was one, outside of the whole transplant listing thing, that was one of the scariest times of my life because once you go on it, you can't come off. At least that's what they originally, you know, were telling me and what they had experienced before. So here I am, you know, taking medications and finally, you know, getting used to feeling better with medications. And now I'm being told you're going to stick an IV in me and it has to stay there and I can't swim and I love the water. I love tanning. I love all that kind of stuff. Like I've had enough taken away from me my whole life. You're not taking away those things. And I don't want this medication, but I had to. Because of my pregnancy, which I'll go in another video. So anyways.
So I kind of just want to add to that.
Yes.
You know, my parents were kind of opposite. And they didn't live my whole life, you know, in fear.
Right.
But I know it was absolutely life-changing for them as well. But, and I don't know if it was just my bullheaded personality.
Yes, I am too, very bullheaded.
And I'm getting kind of teared up here.
Oh, it's okay.
But I think my biggest goal was to have the most normal life possible. And I don't think that was something I sat down and said, you know what, I'm still going to have a normal life. It's just something I did. And the people around me didn't really treat me that much differently. My best friend.
Still your best friend?
Yeah. I mean, my family, and Jessica were pretty much everything that I needed, and is pretty much probably why I am the person I am today. So, thank you. But I still went out to clubs and bars and hung out, and I still wanted to have fun. I said I'm going to finish school. The end of my undergrad was really tough because that's when I got put on my pump. And like Crystal said, that was terrifying. Because I'm like, what? I'm going to have this tube in my boob? Are you kidding me? Nobody's going to like me. How am I going to do this, do that? But then I kind of got over it. But I got septic a lot. And I was in the hospital a lot because, once I got septic, they have to change the line out, add antibiotics, and I was probably in the hospital for at least a week every time I got infected. And I just remember when I applied to PA school, my parents didn't really deter me or say anything. Only thing I remember is my dad's like, so what is the job demand for this? And I remember looking at him like, I don't know, but just trust me, I think it's good.
You're like, I'll find out.
I honestly had minimal clue about what a PA does. I never even shadowed one. I just knew I wanted to go to school to be a PA.
That's cool.
And it's crazy that I ended up here, but because I feel like I just flew by the seat of my pants for most of my young adult life. But anyway, I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I just need to make it through these next 2 years without being in the hospital. If I get hospitalized, I'm not going to graduate, and I'm not going to be able to get my license and do what I want to do. So my goal was to stay out of the hospital for 2 years, which I did. So, and now I just want to try things that I can do, and if I can't do it, then I can't do it. But I just don't want to let it hold me back.
Yeah. I think this is one of those diseases too, is where everyone's different. Hospitalizations are different. A lot of people are hospitalized often, and tissue time. And most of the time it's related to the pulmonary hypertension, but also we're still normal people. We still get normal colds. We still get, normal stomach bugs, like all of that stuff. But, we get hospitalized for the pulmonary hypertension stuff. It's a big deal. A lot goes into it. We typically end up in, the ICU, and, it's long periods of time, and infections and that kind of thing. So, hospitalizations is something that goes with this. And I know, like I said, we've kind of been talking to newly diagnosed patients just because we want to give you hope. We want you to see that, yes, you're going to have a lot of downs, but you're going to have a lot of ups too. Julie's talking about teaching. I think this is a great way to teach. This is another notch in your belt that you can, start teaching people. And so that's kind of what we want to accomplish in these videos is, number one, we want people all over the place to know what this is. We want people who have this disease to come together and to realize you're not alone. And, Julie and I think our goal is just mainly to let people see that we're normal people. We really are. We have a disease, but we're not going to let it be us. It's not going to become us.
It's not going to control our lives.
Yeah. And, we're still going to move on, and, it is what it is. I know that's such cliche now, but it's what we have. It's the hand we've been dealt, and it's time to pick up, move on, and figure out the steps as we go along. So I just really hope that we're doing that for somebody, giving you hope, giving you an outlook of, not letting this be the end of you, if that makes sense.
Because you are made for more.
Yes, always. So, all right. So I think that's it for this time.
I think that's enough.
And we will get some other videos out there. Again, like, share, subscribe, and we will talk to you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.